and stuff. But cool. Ready, Beth? Ready for it? Let's do it. Good morning. Thank y'all so much. So much for being here. My name is Cole Johnson. I live right around the corner, right in your backyard pretty much. I'm from Atlanta. Spent a good chunk of the past 5 or so years serving in the Marine Corps Reserves, getting my master's degree, going through college, all that good stuff, doing CrossFit. Any CrossFitters, maybe? Let's go. That's awesome. Doing CrossFit and the whole thing. And now I'm doing nutrition coaching. So just want to go ahead and preface, this is not a buy my product, buy my Juice Plus, whatever kind of a thing. This is a legit, hey, here are some basic practices that you can walk out of this door with. So you can go home and say, all right, here's my goal. Here's some steps that I can take to meet my goal. So I'm not selling you anything. This is truly to help you on your nutrition, health, and fitness journey. So just real quick, turn to someone next to you. This is an interactive class. You can talk to me, you can talk to each other, whatever works best for y'all. Go ahead, and you can talk to Beth. You can talk to Beth. Go ahead. I want to hear some favorite foods being discussed. And this is no judgment. This is a nutrition course, but I'll go ahead and say ice cream, my jam. Oreos hits the spot every once in a while. And it's all about balance, people. So go ahead, say some favorite foods to the person next to you. No judgment. Just food, any food. There you go. That's good. Have you been to 210 Jack downtown?
Fantastic.
Super good.
Their crab.
Super good. Love it. All right, let me hear 2 favorite foods. Just 2. Pizza. Deep dish or not deep dish? Just a pizza on my table now. That's awesome. One more. I heard burgers. Someone said burgers. Let's go. Pad Thai? Okay, we had a ramen answer over here. Perfect. All right. So, food. Let's talk about food. Everybody loves food, right? If you love food, you can nod your head, raise your hand, whatever. Food is the most important part of how you do your day-to-day operations, how you live, how you come in here in the gym and succeed, whatever goal you have for your life and the things that you do is fueled by food, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a couple of main questions. So what is nutrition? We'll talk about that in just a second. Not why is nutrition, but why do we practice good nutrition and how do we practice good nutrition? So we're going to get a little bit into the reason, a little bit into the science. Any sciencey minded people, that's just how you work. Okay, maybe 2 of us, good. I am not, so I had to learn this stuff. And then we'll get into the practicals of how you can walk out of here and start practicing good nutrition. Does that sound good? Awesome, let's do it. All right, first I want to hear from you. What do you think nutrition is? No right or wrongs, just nutrition. What does that mean to you?
Like how you fuel your body.
Fuel. That's a great answer. How you fuel your body. What else?
Balanced diet.
Yeah, balanced diets. Who's ever done like a keto diet or a whatever kind of diet like that? Okay, so diets are different ways of looking at nutrition, but mainly nutrition is the practice of using food accurately, right? Because it's fuel, because it is a tool in order to meet your goals for your health and your fitness. So we're kind of taking our mind off of like, oh, I'm hungry, insert food, right? Kind of shifting from that to, yes, I am hungry because my body needs fuel to meet whatever goal that I have. And we'll talk about some of those specific goals in just a second. So talked about fueling. The other function of food, yes, it is giving our body energy, but it goes beyond energy. Every single day, your body is creating, recreating, repairing all of the cells that make up who we are. So if you just did a killer workout in here, you have some muscles that are probably freaking out a little bit They've just been damaged a little bit, right? Because you're punching a bag, building those muscles, and it's food that comes in and rebuilds and repairs what you just did in here, or on a run, or a workout, or CrossFit, or whatever it is, okay? So we're kind of shifting our mind from I eat food because I'm hungry to I use food as a tool to do what I need to do. Does that kind of make sense? It's kind of a little bit of a paradigm shift that can be uncomfortable, but we'll give you some practical things. So that is what? What is nutrition? We're using food to ultimately help us. So let's talk a little bit about what food is specifically. Who's heard macros? The term macros. Macros split. You may have heard like a gym bro being like, oh, I need to hit my macros for the day, right? Or, hey, I need to track my macros in my fitness pal or something like that. But a lot of people don't really understand what macros are, what they do, and how they help you. So we're going from what is nutrition to how we can understand what the food is in a more well-rounded way. Does that make sense? Who's ever used MyFitnessPal before? Or like a calorie tracker, macro tracker kind of a thing? So they do a really good job of showing you the numbers of what's in your foods. But what a lot of people don't tell you is macros, each macro has a different job for you and for your body. So there's 3 types of macros. Macros stands for macronutrients, by the way. Macronutrients. I apologize for my man writing. So we have macronutrients. The reason they're called macronutrients is because those are the types of nutrients that are going to be the most present in your food. So you have macronutrients and micronutrients. Micronutrients are going to be things like vitamins and minerals and amino acids and all types of different stuff. But when you look at a nutrition label, what does it usually say? We have carbs. Anybody know the 2 other one? Protein and fats. All right, some common misconceptions. Ready for this? Carbs, bad. Don't eat carbs. Another misconception. Fats, bad. Don't eat fats. Have y'all heard this before? Yeah. How dare you eat any of these things, right? Protein. Eat as much protein as you can and you will live a healthy and wealthy life, right? But let's break down some of these misconceptions. So, carbs. What are carbs? Carb stands for carbohydrates, okay? So common forms of carbohydrates are sugars, right? Fruits, grains, things like that. Carbs are gonna give you short-term energy. So I'm gonna write that down. Short-term energy. If you are about to walk into the gym, you need some short-term energy. Hey, I'm gonna grab a scoop of honey, or I'm gonna eat a banana, or I'm gonna eat an apple, or whatever it is. Or sometimes the quick carbs come in the form of like an energy drink. Hey, I'm gonna drink this drink that has a bunch of sugar in it. It'll make me feel like I have a lot of energy for the short-term energy. Anybody chugged an energy drink before a workout before? Just me? Okay. The guys here, yeah. So what happens when you chug an energy drink? You're like, I'm gonna crush this workout. 15 minutes later, how do you feel? I'm gonna die on this mat right here, and they're gonna have to drag me out, right? So carbs are that short-term energy. We'll explain a little bit more in depth in just a second of all 3 of these things. But protein, who can tell me a source of protein? Chicken.
Beef. Fish. Tofu. ...
Insert all the meat products right here. Okay, tofu, yeah. Tofu, great plant-based protein right there. We got pea protein, we got all sorts of stuff. Amino acids, anybody taking BCAAs or EAAs, right, for recovery? Those are amino acids that target your muscles, and those are saying, hey, we need to repair those. So protein's job, you might get a little bit of energy, a tiny, tiny bit of energy from protein, but what protein does is they identify the muscles in the cells that you need to repair, after you do something strenuous. Or even at the end of your day, right? We're all moving around, we're active people, we're in a kickboxing gym, right? We're staying active, and protein's job is to say, hey, those biceps were worked really hard today because it was arm day in the gym. We're gonna target that area and rebuild those muscles. But it's not just that, it's every cell, every organism in your body. Does that make sense? So view this as short-term energy. We're gonna view this as, I'm gonna write, I'm tall, so writing lower on the board just gets more challenging. So protein is rebuilding, okay? And then we have fats. Who can name a fat source? Avocado is my favorite one. Okay, oil? Butter would kind of go under oil, sort of. Yeah, so fats are gonna come in the form of some fruits, like an avocado, not many, but some. We have oil, butter, nuts and seeds have a lot of fats, things like that. So the tricky part about fat is, guarantee you if you turn on the TV, an infomercial pops up and says, why are you eating so much fat? This and this and that. It was more of a trend a few years ago, but generally people think, oh, I should not eat any fats. But that's not true, because fats serve as your long-term energy source. So what happens is, I did not plan to draw this, and it's gonna be kind of jank, but you'll have to forgive me. So view this as your fuel tank. It's a pretty complicated looking fuel tank right there, all right? So what you're doing when you're eating food is you're filling up your body with, okay, I know that I need to come to Total Fitness Kickboxing and have a workout. Here's what I need to eat. And I'm not saying this is what you need to do right now. It all depends on your goal, which we'll talk about in just a second. So at my meal for breakfast, I'm gonna eat this much carbs. I'm gonna eat this much protein. It's a lot of protein. And then I'm gonna eat this much fat. What's gonna happen is, when you get into the gym, the things that you're gonna start to burn look like this. We're gonna burn carbs first. We're burning the energy drink. We're burning the banana we ate, the apples, the Sour Patch Kids, Rice Krispie treats, whatever. All of that is gonna go like that. 15-minute mark, if you fueled properly, what's gonna happen is your body is gonna tap into that next fuel source, which is fats. Fats are a very dense nutrient, so they're gonna stick around for longer, and they take longer to get rid of, right? So body fat, very dense thing, which is why it takes longer to get rid of, but it's a source of fuel that your body is hanging on to for when you need it, right? So we're in the gym, boom, burn through all the carbs. But thankfully, we ate some fat, and we're gonna start to burn that fat as our reserve fuel source, okay? So fats aren't bad. Fats are not bad. Saturated fats are not bad, okay? You won't hear a lot of people say that either. Saturated fats is just a more dense form of fat that can occur naturally. The thing that people tell you to avoid are saturated fats that are chemically put together. We can talk about that later, or if you have questions about that. So carbs, good. Protein, good. Fat, good. What matters is how you balance all of those things. So we have a plate, oh, perfect circle, definitely not. So we have our plate here. You've probably seen things like this. It's like a macro split. So what a lot of people do is say, hey, they identify their goal, right? And then you'll see whatever the percentage is. I'm gonna eat 60% of this, and oh, math is awesome. 30% of this and 10% of that. That's 100, right? Somebody please say yes. I'm just kidding. Hey, I was in the Marine Corps. If I can't count it on my fingers, I can't count it, okay? So people will put together splits like this. That's an awful split, but it's a good example. So that's kind of the science-y, okay, these are the main foods that you eat in a day, and this is what they do for you. Does that kind of help a little bit of thinking through, okay, I understand how to use these kinds of foods for my goals. Now, 2 things that you need to know. We'll talk about whole foods in a bit, but macros are going to be the most prevalent and the most clean source in what's called whole foods, not the store, not Whole Foods, the store, actual whole foods. So whole foods are foods that are the closest to their original state as possible. You go in the garden, you pick up a squash, boom, whole food. You go in the kitchen, you eat a squash casserole, probably not as whole of a food as you could have had, right? So the farthest away from a processed food that we can get, the more true these macros are gonna be. And they're gonna stay in these lanes, like we talked about, fats, avocado oil, things like that. What gets tricky is when you eat foods that are all mixed together, the macros get a little confusing. We'll leave that right there for a second. So let's talk about how you do it. Do you have an eraser, Beth, by chance?
Yeah, just 1 second. It's fancy.
Hey, that's so fancy. That's kind of like my little fuel tank over there. So how do we use all of these foods? How do we use the foods that have these macros in them to meet our goals? In your head, real quick, think of one goal that you want to achieve in health, fitness, nutritionally, whatever it is. Take 5 seconds. I'm gonna ask you to say it out loud too. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but it's a good little exercise. Think of it in your head. What is it? 3, 2, 1. If you're comfortable, tell your neighbor what your health, fitness, or nutritional goal is. Go for it. That's a good one. There you go. 400 pounds solid muscle. That's what I'm talking about. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna talk about how do you practice nutrition. We know about the foods, we know about the macros, that's all great, but it's not worth anything if you don't do anything with it, right? So, number 1, we need to pick a goal. That's what you just did. You can think in your head, oh, my goal is to lose weight, gain muscle and lose weight, or lose fat, so body recomposition. Whatever it is, lose weight so I can do better at my mile time, increase my energy when I'm here in the kickboxing gym. I'm not chugging energy drinks, so I need to fuel my body with good food. So we pick a goal. We just did that. Boom, congratulations, you're 1/3 of the way there. So you pick your goal and you really start to think through, okay, I have this goal in mind. How am I gonna get there? And you probably, I heard some of you, you start running through things like, okay, how am I going to increase my energy? Okay, I'm gonna cut back the energy drinks. I'm gonna decrease sugar, right? I'm gonna decrease carbs, whatever it is, right? You're already thinking through how you can get there. So what needs to happen is you need to make a plan, okay? You can't just have a goal and just be like, oh, one day I want to lose 10 or 15 pounds. That would be great. And then not change anything, right? You have to make the step-by-step plan. So there's some key things that you need to think through. 1, is it a tangible plan? Or is it a realistic plan, okay? 2, in your plan, you have to do the things that works for you, right? It has to work for you. You can't just be scrolling on Instagram and see a fitness influencer talk about a bunch of stuff that does not work for you at all, right? We all have different schedules. We all have different jobs. Some of us have kids, like whatever it is, all of our lives are different. So all of our plans that we make are gonna be different, right? So that's a mindset thing of like, hey, it's okay if I don't buy the whatever shake that so-and-so talked about. That doesn't work for me. I'm gonna stick to this, this, and this. So you want attainable plans. You want things that you can actually do for you, okay? So a little bit of a mindset nugget there for you. And you have to identify the changes that you need to make in your plan. So we already identified the goal. This is the planning stage. How am I going to get to my goal? We'll put the goal right here. How am I going to get here? And what are the things that I have to do to get there? So after you make the plan, you have to work the plan. You got to do it, right? This is where things like telling your goal to a friend. Maybe you go home and tell the goal to whoever, your kids, your grandma, whoever it is. Get it out there and start making good, clear steps that you can follow. So when you work the plan, you want something that you can actually meet, right? And you can do that by picking one thing, okay? Pick one thing that you can change. We identify the areas to change right here. Pick one thing that you can change and stick with it. Who said no, limit sugar? Awesome. Yeah, that's a great first step. If you say, hey, I have identified that I have some added sugar, right? We all do. Like I said, I told y'all up front, ice cream and Oreos, come on, so good. You wanna know what ice cream and Oreos is? All added sugar and chemicals, but it's so good, right? Right? But we need to identify those things. Hey, there's some added sugar in my diet consistently. How can I change that, tweak it, and then work that plan for the long run? Once you feel like you have a good grasp on that thing, maybe some people affirm that and say, hey, dude, you're looking great. You're trimming down a little bit, or you're not burning out on the mats every time you're in here in the gym. Not saying that this is y'all, just saying hypothetical. It would be me. I would get tired in here if I had to hit a boxing bag for however long you hit a boxing bag. But once you start to meet that goal, you can move on to the next thing. And that's just some peace of mind for you to say, hey, I have this huge, massive plan and I want to get here, but I can't do everything at once. Because when you do everything at once, you do none of them well, okay? Pick one thing, make the plan, work the plan, okay? So what does that actually look like for you? Well, y'all told your discussion buddy a second ago what your goal is, and it's a bunch of different goals, right? We all have different lives, different situations that we live in. So this is how we use, I'm gonna write the macros up here. Oops. Understanding food, so we'll say macros. Understanding food plus your plan equals meeting your goal. Okay? So what you need to do is, since you looked at your goal, you need to figure out how you're going to use food in your plan. So it's more than just gotta cut sugar. It's more than just no energy drinks. It's more than just I'm gonna eat a whole rotisserie chicken at dinner to get the protein, right, for the gains, right? That's not how it works. You need to identify, how am I gonna use food to work my plan? Now, that's where you'll start to hear things about macro splits. Really, what it comes down to, it doesn't have to be a crazy complicated split. It just comes down to your plate, right? The key thing is balance. The key thing is balance. I would write balance, but I ran out of room. So let's take our plate again. Let's say that I have a buddy. He comes up to me and says, hey, I need to lose 10 pounds, let's say 20 pounds. I need to lose 20 pounds, but I need to keep my muscle, because for every set amount of fat that you're burning, you're also burning muscle. So how can I burn fat and keep that muscle? So what we would say is, we're gonna look at how to balance his plate. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna say, hey, we're gonna hit a decent amount of protein, and we broke that down in grams for him, and we're gonna keep fat, okay? We're gonna keep fat right where it is, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna decrease carbs. Kind of goes against what a lot of people say of, hey, just don't eat fat and you'll lose weight. It's not true, because what we wanna do is give him that long-term energy, enough for him to be able to work and work out and do all that stuff. We also want to give him short-term energy for when he's in the gym, so he's not burning out in the gym, but we want to increase protein, decrease carbs, so he can increase his gains while losing weight. Does that make sense? That sounded super complicated, but it's just an example of he has his goal. We'll call him whatever, Joe. Joe has his goal, so we balanced his plate to work for him. So now, his name's not actually Joe. He is one of my clients. Now, he's losing weight like this. His deadlift hasn't changed. His squat hasn't changed. All of this stuff because we balanced his plate according to his plan and according to his goal, right? Joe's goal isn't going to be your goal, right? But what you need to do is say, this is my goal, and here's how I'm going to balance my plate. P stands for plate, or protein, or plan, or whatever. But this is my goal, this is my plan, and I'm going to balance my plate in XYZ. That was the lid, so sorry about that. In whatever way that I need to meet my goal. Does that make sense? That could have been a little confusing. We're all good? We're tracking on that one? Okay, so, and the reason I'm not getting more into this is because there's a good bit of us here, and all of us have different goals. So all of our balanced plates are gonna look different, okay? Things that we also need to consider that we haven't talked about, like dietary restrictions or sensitivities or anything like that, is gonna be another factor in how you balance your plate. I had one lady, she said, hey, I want meal plans because I need to have a set meal plan and I need grocery lists and I'm so busy and that would help me so much, but I'm dairy free. Okay, no factor. We're gonna work that in and we're gonna get a plan that works for her, okay? So most of what this is, yes, you need to understand food. That's so important. And also you need to understand that your specific goal rates a specific response and a specific plan. So be thinking through, okay, this is where I wanna be and how can I get there? So in order to get there, here's a couple of practical things. I feel bad about that lid, Beth, so sorry. I'll go buy you a new dry erase marker lid. Yeah, I was surprised too. All right, so let's get rid of some of the vagueness because this is so dependent on who you are, what you do, what your goal is, and let's get some good practical steps for you. So these are things that you can walk out of here without like mapping out a whole plan of like, oh, I'm gonna eat this on these days and balance my plate. So you can do that later if you want to. I would encourage you, make that plan. But you can walk out of this door and start applying these things right now. Ready for this? Let's do it. One, we talked about this. Whole foods. Before you even balance your plate, before you walk into the restaurant, whatever it is, you can already in your head be determining, hey, when I go to eat food, I'm gonna aim to eat as much whole foods as I can. Mixed up foods are great, they're tasty. Pizza, burgers, right? We talked about that, super good. But it's pretty far away from a whole food. So if you just determine, hey, I'm gonna stick to as many whole foods as I can, that's a great goal. One caution about that, don't restrict yourself. If it comes to eating the burger or not eating food at all and not fueling your body, eat the dang burger. You know what I'm saying? So don't restrict yourself. Don't feel like, oh, I can't eat this because it's not a salad, or I can't eat it because it's not apples and bananas or whatever. But if you have the mindset of, hey, this thing on the menu, lots of veggies, we got chicken on there, we got some good whole foods, I'm gonna choose that over the other options. That's a great place to start, okay? So aim for whole foods. We talked about that a second ago as well. Number two, you gotta drink water. You got to drink water. When I was in the military, obviously people are like, you gotta drink water, it's hydrate or die, like you gotta drink so much water, okay? Some truth to that, okay? Water is the key component for keeping your body moving and operating in a way that works, right? Also helps your energy, and it helps those macronutrients and micronutrients get from your digestive system out into the rest of your body. It makes the machine work smoothly and work properly. So eat water. Drink a lot of water, all right? The next one is adequate sleep. Adequate sleep. Who's getting adequate sleep in this room? Maybe 5 of us. That's great. Everybody's schedule is different, right? Everybody's different. Sleep. Why sleep so important? There's a ton of reasons. Recovery is a huge one. But one, you're burning calories in your sleep. It takes energy to sleep. Why? Because you're recovering. When you're in your bed snoozing, your body is like, all right, everybody chill. Let's figure out what we need to do to get Garrett up and running the next day. So we're processing proteins, we're rebuilding cells, we're repairing muscles so you can get big and strong, right? Sleep is so important and there's so much stuff, especially now, that's coming out about sleep. We can't even get into it. Sleep to recover and to be able to allow the nutrients you put in, find a place to go to help you keep on going with your goals. Sleep is important. I'll stop on sleep because there's a lot there. The next one. Sugar. All right. Sugar can be a good thing from a good source, okay? Good sugars can occur naturally, right? Coconut water, fruits, other things like that. There are naturally occurring sugars. So if you look at a nutrition label or something, it says sugar content 10 grams. Look under that. When something says added sugar, that's what we want to try and avoid. Again, don't feel like you have to restrict yourself. Every once in a while, go eat the ice cream sandwich if you enjoy that, right? If you're with friends, something like that. Don't restrict, but be mindful. When you go to Starbucks, check out the nutrition facts on the drink that you want to get, right? A lot of stuff, especially right now, is like pumpkin spice latte is so good. I don't like pumpkin spice lattes, but a lot of people do. People are saying they're so good, but there's 90 grams of sugar in it, right? That's more carbs than a single whole bagel by itself in a Starbucks drink, okay? So a little bit of perspective. Look for alternatives. I get honey in my coffee, right? You can get the shaken espresso, whatever. No pumps of fake flavor. Get honey. It sweetens your drink. It's a natural sugar, right? So think through okay, how can I swap out the things that I like? I like these drinks. I like these desserts, whatever it is, for a more natural source. You can make the cookies. You can make the pie. You can make whatever, but use maple syrup. Use honey. Use monk fruit. All of those things are better than processed added sugar. Sound good? Awesome. It's a great song. All right, and that goes for foods and drinks, by the way, for the sugar. The next one, there's 2 more. Yep, 2 more. The next one is you gotta move. You gotta get up and you gotta stay active. Beth, do you move in this gym?
Yes.
Oh, how much?
A lot.
Okay, nobody's ever really standing around, right? Every time I drive by here, there's scary people punching boxing bags, okay? And that's great because you're moving. But I would encourage you, and I struggle with this as well, I have to work on this as well, don't let your activity be limited to 1 hour a day, right? I have a desk job. My 9 to 5, I send emails and work spreadsheets. That's just how it is, right? We all have different situations. People in construction, moving all the time. People with an office job or whatever it is, you have to be intentional about, okay, I'm gonna move throughout my day instead of just in the gym 1 hour a day. Because you will burn, if you look at it from a caloric standpoint, you will burn more calories through your day through consistent activity than 1 hour in here, if that makes sense, okay? So I do jujitsu. I go to the jujitsu gym, hey, I'm burning whatever, 400 or 500 calories in an hour. But in the span of the whole day, if I'm staying active, I'm burning 1,500 to 2,000 more calories, and that's not in the gym, okay? Passive calorie burning totals for more than active calorie burning in a gym or on a run. Okay, so ways you can do that. Go walk. Who has a lunch break during the day? Okay, boom. Who has time in the evening where usually you would click on Netflix or something like that? I'm saying this to me too, y'all. Choose, hey, I'm gonna go on a walk. I'm gonna go on a run. I'm gonna walk the dog. I'm gonna take the kids to the park. I'm gonna do whatever. Increase that activity through the day and identify those areas. I didn't write that on the board. Let's do this. Stay active. The sixth one is the last one, and then we're gonna wrap it up. You have to have a system, okay? For some personalities in this room, you might be like, I hate systems. I'm just gonna do it, right? For other personalities in this room, you might say, I cannot do it without a system, right? But whichever side you're on, you have to create a system, which is your plan, and can even go into daily rhythms to meet your goals. You can't chance your way into health and fitness. It's not gonna happen. You can't luck your way into losing your weight or getting huge muscles, right? So you have to have a system that works for you. A system looks like this. Hey, when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna grab my coffee or whatever. I'm gonna make one breakfast that I can repeat that I know is good balance for my day. Boom, that's part of the system. You do that 5 days in a row, you're well on your way to substituting that breakfast for the Jimmy Dean sandwich that you throw in the microwave, right? Small substitutions done consistently produce the biggest amount of reward, okay? You have to create the systems. When I go to this lunch spot on Sundays that I always go to, I'm gonna order this menu item instead of the fried chimichangas, or chimichangas, as some of my dear people call it. Instead of that, I'm gonna get the fajitas, lose some tortillas, have great whatever, okay? Veggies, chicken, cheese, all that yummy stuff, salad, guac, beans, all the things. You have to have a system of what you're going to do and when, and do that consistently, okay? That was the last practical thing. So all of those things you can do for free. You can walk out of this door and be like, boom, I'm gonna make my plan, I'm gonna go home, and we're gonna be well on our way to meeting my goal or whatever it is, okay? All of those things you can do today. Pick what you're gonna do it for the long run, and I promise you, you will see results, guaranteed, okay? It's not, this method, all of this is basic understanding of what food is, how you can use it, and how to meet your goal, okay? It's not a product, it's not a scam, it's not a whatever on an Instagram ad, it's not a workout program. You have to practice this in order to meet your goals, okay? Being here is one of the biggest steps you can take to meeting your goals, right? Working in that activity, having community, having people around you, like Beth, who says, hey, how's your nutrition goal going? Sweet. It was a hard day? That's fine. Let's get some activity in, right? Whatever. Build that community, bring other people around you, and meet your goals. It's as easy as that, okay? That sound good? Awesome. A couple of things, that's all for this. A couple of things that I want to make y'all aware of. If you want to learn a little bit more about some specifics, jump on Instagram, follow me at Pine Nutrition, putting a bunch of stuff on there as much as I can, when I can, substitutions for drinks, healthy foods, recipes, all of these things, a bunch of resources are there for free. I'm not gonna charge you, it's just there. It's like a little pot at the end of the rainbow. Boom.
Very, very helpful little things.
Yeah.
I've been stalking him out of stuff.
Beth's stalking me. Somebody help. Beth's stalking me.
Use like the plate and sit
Uh-huh.
the fork down each time.
Yeah.
That is such a big key because we as Americans, we're always in a hurry. We're always trying to go, 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 go. So a bad habit we all develop is scarfing that food down. You know, we forget to chew our food.
Yeah.
we swallow. So yeah, go check them out.
Yeah, check out the Instagram, and all of the stuff that's going to be on here is going to be like these steps. You can turn off your phone and start doing those things. It's not by the whatever. These are real good steps that you can follow. So follow that account. Hopefully that'll help you as well. On that, there's a bunch of free resources. So we have a ton of healthy recipes that we've cooked and tried and put together with corresponding grocery lists. So you can take it to the grocery store and it corresponds to the 5 healthy dinner meals. There's 3 or 4 weeks of that available for free. That's on there. So any kind of resources like that. This is gonna be uploaded. If you signed in on the sign-in sheet, I'll just go ahead and email you this recording so you can go back and listen to that. So any resources that you need, coaching, I do coaching, personal coaching. If you want to explore that as an option, shoot me a DM, come up to me after this. I think, Beth, we mentioned 50% off of coaching for y'all just for being here and being available. So I appreciate you. If that's something that you're interested in, come talk to me, shoot me a DM, any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's it. If you want, I think I put some cards right here. If you want to grab a card, there's my contact info and the QR code to the Instagram. Anytime, feel free to reach out. We'll jump on a coaching call whenever works best for you and explore some options for how y'all can meet your goals. Does that sound good? Yeah, any questions? It can be specific questions, food, process, plan, goals, anything like that.
Here, I'll ask one.
Yeah,
Get it started.
on the spot. Let's do it.
Bananas are high carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So would you recommend eating bananas or not?
I would recommend eating bananas because 1, it's going to be a great whole food. 2, you got some great micronutrients, potassium being 1. So when you're throwing a nasty right hook into a bag, you don't cramp, right? That would be unfortunate. So definitely work in bananas as part of your balance and timing out, hey, 30 minutes before I go to the gym, I'm gonna crush this banana real quick so I can crush this bag in here, right? Things like that. I would definitely say any fruits, anything like that is within limits for sure. Yeah.
What about timing? Like, how long before I go beat the crud out of the bag? But what time should I eat? I mean, I can't eat 5 minutes before because I'll get sick. I know my body, but I need to eat something or I'll get sick.
Yeah.
What's the time? 30 minutes?
Yeah, so usually people say an hour to 30 minutes. Funny, I recently tried to change my routine on that. Did not work out for me. It was a very bad experience. But an hour to 30 minutes before your workout. It depends on your workout, depends on like your digestive system, how you handle different things, right? You can kind of fine tune that. But I would just try different days. Like, okay, if I go to the gym in the morning, I'm gonna eat something small an hour before. Try that. If it doesn't work, then try 30 minutes before. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge meal. It can be something small. My go-to, 2 rice cakes and peanut butter an hour before a workout. Helps me a ton. If you want some extra carbs, put some bananas on there. Put some honey on there, right? Things like that. So kind of play around with it, see what actually works for you. Because like I would eat 15 minutes before the gym sometimes. I was at D1 right over here and I was like pushing a sled and about to like puke and it was really bad. So yeah, that's a good question.
What about like a coffee and a protein drink before? Because I cannot eat before I come to gym. Like I feel like throwing up when I do.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah. So coffee is good. Again, coffee does not sit well with me before working out. Everybody is different though. I know people that drink a lot of coffee before they go run and stuff like that. Coffee can be good. Again, I would maybe see how much sugar is in it. Can be a good, clean energy source, honestly. Protein drink can be good. I would usually, as a rule of thumb, say that protein should come after the workout so you can get that protein into your system to recover those muscles. But if that works for you, it helps settle your stomach before the gym, then do that. Do what works for you. An option, this is doesn't have to be a product, but carb sources. There's carb shakes and drinks that have a little bit that are gonna sit easy on the stomach, give you some quick energy. But I would do that if like food, you can't grab food right before. Food over supplements all day long. Find your gaps and then supplement there. That's a different talk. But does that kind of answer your question?
See, I'm like you. I can't eat before.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'll be so sick.
Oh yeah.
Coffee is like a habit. Like every morning, I just have
Oh
a
yeah.
cup of coffee.
For sure. Yeah. And if the protein shake works for you, that's cool. After the gym, I would maybe try to find some protein in like a food source, eggs, whatever, things
That's
like
what
that.
I've been doing, but
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you're killing it, right? You don't need my help. You're doing great.
yeah, right.
Go for it.
What if I'm like so sensitive to drinking water during an intense workout that I'm too scared to try to eat anything before?
Yeah, that's a good question. So sensitive to water while you're in here. That's when I would say you should definitely make a point to hydrate as much as you can before and after the workouts, because it's hard. Really, water during a workout different people have different opinions on this, isn't hydrating you for the workout. Hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Isn't hydrating you for the workout. It's like helping you cool down, helping like cool your system, things like that. You're really hydrating up to a day before you do any type of workout. So I would try and focus on before and after, really getting that water in. If you need something to sip on, there's BCAA, like during workout drinks and stuff that are out there that help me, because it's no sugar, but it tastes sweet. It helps me like keep going, if that makes sense. So focus on hydrating when you're not here. Does that help at all? Okay. Excuse me. Anything else? Hit it.
Rice. Like rice really bad? Is rice good? What kind of rice is better?
Right. That's a good
We eat
question.
rice constantly and like
I do as well.
Yeah.
I want rice daily.
Love rice. Rice, okay. Pros and cons. One, let's start with the pros. One, super easy to measure out and balance. It's great. If you look at your plate, our little invisible plate that was right here, you can balance out a plate very well and easily with rice. Rice is very dense. It's gonna pack a lot of carbs. So look at the nutrition label, see how much is in a serving, and then base that on the rest of your plate. Am I getting these good fats in? Am I getting this good protein in? Stuff like that. Rice, types of rice, people go back and forth on. White rice and brown rice. A lot of people say brown rice is the best because white rice is bleached most of the time. You want to stay away from that kind of stuff. But nutritionally, there's like this much difference between nutritional value, if that makes sense. They're both great. Maybe avoid the bleached rice, if that makes sense. But I think it's a great, more whole food option for a good, clean carb. What you want to be careful is putting too much rice on a plate, and then your balance for your plate is like carbs, fats, protein. Does that make sense? So just be mindful of how you balance the rest of your plate. Yeah, I love rice. It's so good.
staple.
So good, so good. Awesome. Anything else? Any other questions?
What are your thoughts on artificial sweeteners?
Artificial sweeteners are artificial and maybe not the best. Can be a better alternative than just straight up processed sugar. Can be a good option. The thing I would most recommend is a natural source of sugar or sweetener. Monk fruit's gonna be a good one. It has a acquired taste that you might have trouble with, but monk fruit's a great one. Honey's a great one. Maple syrup you can cook with. It makes things sweet, but it doesn't taste like a pine tree, right? Like it tastes good. It's good stuff. Any fruit-based, natural, plant-based sugar sweetener is good because the artificial stuff it's all chemicals. Yeah. If a nutrition facts or like a ingredients list looks a lot longer than it should be, it's because there's a lot of added stuff in it, if that makes sense.
And we also get in the mindset that we want something sweet, or, you know, we just can't live without this one object in our life. And I'm saying object, because mine used to be Dr. Pepper. I will admit it to all of you. I never thought in a million years that I would not be drinking Dr. Pepper. worst tasting thing I've ever put in my mouth. But, you know, you gotta ask yourself, is it a mindset? Am I thinking I need it when I don't miss all that stuff that I've, through the years, learned going through nutrition and everything else. It was me thinking, you know, oh, I gotta have that Snickers bar. I gotta have that 2 grams of sugar protein bar than the Snickers now. So, you know, it's just thinking through some of the concepts that we think we need when we really don't, you know. My friends absolutely are like, how do you eat this? I'm like, I don't miss the sugar, the processed sugar. And once you get used to not having it, you really don't go back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things out there for soda and stuff too that are good options. I can almost guarantee you, whatever your vice is, whatever your guilty pleasure is, there's a substitute that is way better for you and it doesn't taste like crap.
Like
Just
I like
saying.
my French vanilla creamer in my coffee. That's like my one thing, but I've been getting the 0 sugar one, but then it's artificially flavored.
And it tastes weird, right?
I know I like it, but it's
Yeah.
just like, it's the artificial flavor.
Yeah.
It's probably my biggest.
So my challenge on that would be, okay, that's one tiny little thing. I would say what matters more is how you're balancing the rest of the things that you're eating and drinking, right? If you're super clean with everything else, have your French vanilla creamer. It makes you happy. It's yummy, right? But if it's the French vanilla creamer and hot dogs and French fries and pizza at night and no protein, then I would say that's a great small step that we could take to start increasing your nutritional progress. If that makes sense. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, if y'all don't have anything else for me, I don't have anything else for y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. I'll email this video to you. I'll edit it a little bit. But yeah, y'all can expect that in the next week or two. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.